Hello, it's almost time for Advent, and so I'd like to share with you an essay I wrote called New Life Fills a Church. And as you know, I like to include the wise words of others, and this is by Alice Walker. And Alice says, "Any God I ever felt in church, I brought in with me." And guess what? Lois Vidaver believes that too. As a part of a dozen or so parishioners remaining in St. John's United Church of Christ, a struggling South Buffalo, New York church, it was painful to hear the protests when we began talking about closing its doors forever. We just did not have the finances or even the will to keep it another season. It was difficult for my husband, who had been pastoring there for several years, and me, to listen to the sorrow in their voices. "But I was baptized in this church," one parishioner exclaimed. "My children grew up here," another said with tears in her eyes. "My parents donated that stained glass window," remembered the organist. The cornerstone on the small white church said 1901. Founded by Germans who settled in the area, anecdotes hint that kegs of beer were distributed to volunteer builders as an incentive to keep them working. An unobtrusive building, it was tucked back among modest houses. When we came out of services on a warm Sunday morning, neighbors smiled at us as they waved from porch chairs across the street. The building showed wear and tear. The front door cracked, the window boxes sat forlorn and empty. During a fierce winter storm, the stately tree in the front yard came crashing down. There it lay for a couple of years until Buffalo street workers finally toted it away. Inside, the building declined as well. The kitchen, not being used, seemed to rust in place. Wind blew through the caulking in the sanctuary windows. There was the shared worry that if we put it on the market, no one would claim the place that meant so much to us for so long. We had visions of the building, standing alone and empty, with rain and snow finding its way through roof fissures. Time came when the faithful few who showed up each Sunday had to make a decision, because, as a wise elder noted, we simply cannot afford to keep the heating bills paid for one more winter. Heads nodded. There would be a sale. To give us time to get used to the idea, we tackled the chore of cleaning out church closets. Every week after service, another box was resurrected and its wonders unfolded. One held the communion set, another altar cloths that were changed according to the liturgical season. What to do with them? Donate them? Give them away? Throw them away? But you know, everything found a home somewhere. Tucked in one of the last containers was the beloved Christmas nativity set. Seeing it brought back the memories of Christmas Eves, when the children of the church had the honor to place each ceramic figure in exactly the right spot. There was an awkward pause. Who would get to enjoy this treasure under their own tree? Finally, one family carefully wrapped Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus in tissue paper and took them home. Another carried the wise men and the shepherds to theirs. Hardly had we told anyone about our decision when a house church in the South Towns contacted us, asking to view the building. They were eager, they told us, to find a home for their growing congregation. In the simplest of real estate dealings, the newcomers took over. 6 months later, feeling nostalgic, my husband and I and several former parishioners scheduled a Sunday morning to attend a worship service at our old church on Lilac Street. Warmly welcomed, we accepted an offer to tour the facility. The changes were astonishing. The pews had been finished and the floor sanded and polished to a high gloss. Although disappointed to see the stained glass windows replaced, the sanctuary glistened as sunlight poured through the clear glass. Renovations throughout the building showed the loving care of master carpentry. During the service, with no musical accompaniment, the church members' voices mirrored a harmony-filled a cappella choir at its very best. Listening to the heavenly sounds soar, our hearts filled with joy that our little building was once again a vibrant and sacred space blessed by God. Thank you for listening.